often get asked, why, when my thoughts, but I'm not thinking that, Martine, so why am I attracting that? You're not thinking it, but you're vibrating it. Does that make sense? And the vibration is far more powerful than your thoughts. And this is why I do really go on a lot about the blueprint, because the blueprint is your vibration. And no matter how hard you try to maybe stop the things coming in, if you're tuned into the more reactive part, let's say, of your vibration, or that particular code, whatever, in your blueprint, if you're more tuned into the reactive part, no matter how much you do your affirmations and cleaning and clearing, you have to work with that vibrational part. So how does the vibrational part vibrate? Well, it vibrates based on strong emotions. So if you've had something that's gone on in your life, and it could be a trauma, it could be a heartbreak, it could be a loss from a material thing that's really, bothered you, like stolen or something that's really bothered you. It could be, a relationship that's been abusive. All these things that put your energy, your vibration under intense pressure will create the vibration. So let's have a look at it from another perspective. So if you look at it from like the ocean, okay, so on the ocean, when you see that beautiful calmness, but underneath there's possibly, and there will be, some real kind of energy moving in there, ready to create when we get the real harsh tides. But you don't necessarily see that energy until it appears. And another scenario is like a duck or a swan. When they're paddling, they glide along the rivers, the lakes, not so much the rivers, well, the ducks do, don't they? The ducks do the rivers and the canals, but swans are more normally in lakes and things. You don't see how they move, you just see the gliding. You don't see the action underneath of their little feet going like the clappers. And this is very much how I can describe energy really on your vibration. So you may appear to be calm on your outside, but on the inside there's a little duck going paddling away, or there's the ocean really starting to make its churning and it's churning and it's churning, ready to come into that kind of huge vibrational wave. Or even like the tornadoes and the volcanoes, that they start to kind of simmer, but underneath there's an eruption about to happen, and it takes one thing really. Well, I say one thing, one more thing, because you're already getting lots of kind of signs. Yeah, you're getting signs, and the signs, they go unattended to. Okay, and I kind of did this on a post that I've just done about the blueprint, because you'll get signs and you'll ignore it. Oh, it's just as a one-off. Well, I let that one go, is the saying. The next one comes a little bit more harsher, then you start to question yourself, you start to doubt yourself. Is that really happening? What is it, me? And all these things. And then you get another one, which really is like the big slap in the face, which is saying to you, you missed a few there. Now we're going to give you a slap on the face. We're going to say, wakey, wakey. And what you're going to do about this one. When it gets to that space, you really don't want to get to that space, because it's hard. It's because it's a harsh lesson, and you're going to get all the things that come along with that. So what is the guidance I can give you? You do need to be more of in a space of ready to be open to deal with yourself, okay? yourself, well, you know, why do I kind of put up with this? Why do I do this? There is a reason why you're doing it, okay? And if you're not prepared to go into the cupboard to figure out why you're doing it, you will be sailing through life always going with the slaps in the face eventually, or sometimes they get a kick, you know, or sometimes you get even worse than that. So it's seeing those signs, and we did the modules, didn't we, 1 to 18? We did those modules, and it's about looking at those signs to see what you're missing and why are you missing it. What is it about yourself that wants to override it? So I hear, these are things I hear, well, it's a much easier life, but who's it an easier life for? You have to think about that. It can't be an easier life for you because you're the one that's getting the kicks and the slaps, okay? So you're trying to ease the life because of somebody else's behaviour. Well, they're never going to learn either. So we look at it really when we start doing this work, we start to look at it by having this dissecting energy to go into it and think, right, well, okay, yeah, I do get it, and I do, you know, ride over these things, and I do want an easier life. But if you're not happy, how can that be easier? And we've also got to remember as well that everybody is different, and we're trying to fix other people to fit in with who we are and what we are. And that's when the arguments come in, and that's when we start to have resentment, and that's when we start to see things that really we're only seeing from our point of view, not from the whole thing. And we're trying to get those people to fit in is going to always create some kind of anger, some arguments, some resentments, and some, you know, really unpleasant moments. And so how let's think how I do it. Well, I do it quite easily. Don't tolerate. I have a zero tolerance for anybody that wants to continually make my life unhappy, and I kind of do see it quite clearly, and I don't really want to put my time and energy into that. Some people might say, yeah, but you know, are you not lonely? Well, not really. I'm not lonely either. You know, no, you may be somebody that, well, I can't do that because I would be lonely. So let's look at that. You can be lonely and happy, and you can be lonely and unhappy, and you have to ask yourself which one of those it is. You know, if you're lonely and you're happy, clap your hands. But if you're sorry, I just put that one in, it just made me think. But if you're lonely and you're not happy, stamp your feet. But no, if you're lonely and you're happy, then you know you're thinking to yourself, you're only going to have those moments where you think, yeah, it would be nice, but you're happy, so it doesn't really matter. If you're lonely and unhappy, so that means you can be with somebody but still be lonely and still feel lonely. And I think that's probably the worst thing, because that is putting yourself last, and this is where the self-care energy comes in, because you can't really do that on a long-term basis without it affecting your health and well-being. So it is really looking at why you want to put a tolerance in, and how is that affecting your health and well-being, you know. So yeah, I'm going to leave it with that one now, because it's about questions, asking yourself some questions, and what do you do about it? What do you do about it? How disruptive will that be? Because this is another thing I think that people think, well, my gosh, if I was to really do what I want, it would be so disruptive. And it isn't about that really, because it's about being able to compromise and have acceptance for the things that aren't really going your way. But you know what? On the grand scheme of things, when I look at my life, and I do have things that I'm not really happy about, but if I kind of keep going on about them, it's going to make me even more unhappy, and the balance that kind of outweighs itself. So I need to make sure that I go into more of an acceptance, but not in a way that it is fully taking away your vibrational energy of your happiness. Okay, and then you're going to have to sit and think about how you're going to do that, which is more than what I can give you on this 10-minute video. All right, my lovelies, I hope that helps. Why not? But you know, think about it, it is about, for what I do is getting you to think about who you are, because I could give you loads of different scenarios, but it's not how you would deal with it. It's going to be completely different to how I would deal with it, and how we're going under a dark tunnel, and how you would deal with it and how I would deal with it are completely different, and how anybody else would deal with it. We've always got to come back to who we are and how we're dealing with things, and you will find it will start to open a door. You know, you might want to close it, that's fine, you might not be ready to go through that door, but it will start opening doors once you start going to the inquisitiveness as to why do I put up with that, why do I do that, and if you're putting up with it and you're accepting it, why are you carrying on about it? Because, you know, there's always going to be something scratching at your inner doors, and it means open it and have a look and see what you can do.